My next guest is one of the co-writers of a new children's movie which is being shown in Bristol tomorrow night. Who Killed Nelson Nutmeg is a kids' whodunit. It premiered at the BFI Film Festival in London alongside the big screen blockbusters Steve Jobs and Suffragette. Joining me down the line to tell us more and about the art of writing movies are Tim Craig and Danny Stack. Hi there, how you doing?
Hi, it's just Tim today.
Just Tim today. Sorry,
just I thought Tim today. That's all right. That's all right, Dr. Phil. But Danny's going to be at the screening tomorrow live, so people go and watch the film.
So if they like Tim, they can get some Danny.
Yeah.
Tell us about the film itself. Whose idea was it originally?
Well, it was our idea because we love kids' movies. We love films from the 80s like The Goonies, and then we also even love those old films, Children's Film Foundation films, if you remember those going way back when.
Yeah.
And just don't get them anymore in Britain. We just don't see those kind of kids go on an adventure and solve a mystery, which is R1, obviously, in the title, Who Killed Nelson Nutmeg, it explains itself. But we just don't see those anymore. Children these days have got either American movies or animation. Now, those are great, but, if you want to see yourself on the big screen if you're an 8-year-old,
you want to see yourself. You want to see a proper plot, proper dialogue, great characters, all the stuff that adults want to see, actually, isn't it? It all actually comes down to a good story and great characters.
Exactly. And so we thought, we understood why the big companies would not want to do that because there's not a massive audience for that, but there's still a good size audience. So us, as like with our first this is our first feature film, we felt that there was a niche there that we could fill and have a good time doing it. I was interested hearing what the guys were talking about in terms of happiness.
Yes.
And this we felt was in that same spirit. We wanted to do a fun story. All right, there's some thrills and chills and escapes and chases and stuff, but at the same time we felt it was going to be something really fun to do, and we felt if we make it really something fun to do, then families would enjoy it as well.
It's interesting what you say. We had Peter Lord from Aardman Animations on, and if you tried to make the pitch of Wallace and Gromit or Morph or Shaun the Sheep from scratch again now, it'd be incredibly difficult, wouldn't it? And yet, look at the global success that has been.
Exactly.
And what's interesting is sometimes you don't know how successful something's going to be until it's out there. You can't really predict how it's going to ring bells with the audience, which is ultimately what you're trying to do, isn't it?
Exactly. And, it does take a long time to get to a point where you can get that feedback. So we made this in what seems like a long time, couple of years it took us to make it, but it's actually quite quick in terms of filmmaking. But it's taken us this long to get it onto the big screen and for families to enjoy it, and they seem to love it. We don't have the money, the big marketing budget that Hollywood has, like for Kung Fu Panda 3 or whatever, but what we're trying to do is things like Danny's doing, which is to say, well, we'll come along and answer your questions about writing, how you as a kid now you can make your own films, using your dad's phone or whatever, and we're trying to get our foot in the door, I suppose, with those kind of more homespun techniques to get the word out about the film.
So when it actually premiered, what was the response that you got then? Because you've got Bonnie Wright playing it, who's people recognise as Ginny Weasley in Harry Potter. Did that help get an audience in? Or
I think it does help, and it helped the young actors. So in this film, it's about 4 children who witness the Nelson Nutmeg, who's like their holiday park mascot, guy in a suit, get pushed off a cliff. So it's these 4 kids who then solve that mystery of who's done it. And by having Bonnie Wright come along, who was a child actor, of course, in those Harry Potter films, as you say, who's now grown up, she could do a bit of mentoring and a bit of acting coaching with them. So not only does it help us in terms of, people might recognise that name, but it actually helped in a really practical sense of someone that had been there, done that, to come along and really help some of those young actors who are really great in the movie. They're not cheesy. It's a really fun film, and but part of that was having that sort of expertise on hand with someone that had lived it for so many years of her own life.
Tell us about the economics of it. How did you secure the funding to make it, and how much did it cost start to finish? Because we think of Hollywood blockbusters costing millions. How much did Who Killed Nelson Nutmeg cost?
Well, we say what we made it for probably the price of the coffee bill of a major film. Okay, so what we did was we didn't have any official funding because people see this as something that's not so important in terms of British cinema. We disagree with that, but we needed to prove it. So we got no official funding, so we raised some money from ourselves, so we put our own money in, and then we did like a crowdfunding where people chipped in a little bit because they thought it was a good idea, and then we had a few private investors who loved the old 60s sort of children's movies, now grandparents, and they had a bit of money, and they gave it to us to invest into this movie. So it was all those kind of little pots of money. Took a few months to bring it all together, but in some ways we did it, if you like, with the energy of it. Really, I mean, we had people coming along, parents supporting us by having to drive their kids to the location. They were all doing it because they thought it was a fun thing to do, and it was enjoyable. We made sure it was enjoyable because we wanted to have a good time as well. So it's almost, we've done it with love, I suppose, more than money.
And one of the things I like about what you've done is you've also tried to pass your experiences and tips for scriptwriters. You've written the UK Scriptwriters Handbook. Is it something you and Danny have done together? That's
right. We've written that together. Okay. Danny's a very experienced TV writer, and I've written for computer games and other types of media. So actually, we covered quite a lot of writing between us in the past. So we brought those together because, being a successful scriptwriter isn't just about writing great scripts. It's also about how do you get them out there, what opportunities, could you do it yourself, like we've done with this movie, like make it yourself, don't just write it, make it. So we put it all into the UK Scriptwriters Survival Handbook, and that's gone down really well with writers who were like, I'm a good writer, but I'm still not getting somewhere. And that's how we felt. So they've really warmed to this book, kind of up and coming writers all across the UK who are writing for whatever. There's bits in there about writing for radio, about writing plays and so on, because there's so many opportunities to get your work out there these days and to enjoy it and have a happy writing life.
And you've got a special forward from Tony Jordan behind the script, the legend behind Dickensian and Life on Mars.
That's right.
So that's nice.
Yeah, well, he's a nice bloke, is Tony, because he's totally worked his way up from the bottom, if you see what I mean. Almost in a legendary way, where he was sort of bumbling about being a market trader on EastEnders and said, I could write better than this, and then did it, and then he wrote 100 episodes of EastEnders, and then started his own company. And so we were like, well, that's the sort of person we want to be, someone that's taken their life, their destiny, if you like, in their hands. And we were like, Tony, please, and he was more than pleased to do it, and we thank him for it because we were sort of inspired by him. Yes.
Well, thank you for taking the time to talk to us this morning. Who Killed Nelson Nutmeg? It's screening tomorrow, isn't it? At Scott Cinemas, 17th of April.
That's it. And, there's still some tickets. It's about half sold out, but there's still some tickets. And, if it's really successful, we can put it on again. So the more the merrier.
And it'll be out on DVD in the US in June, in the summer over here as well, do you think?
Yeah, just in the summer, but a little bit after. But it'll be out. And then after that, on all those kind of normal platforms like Netflixy type stuff, But we just want to get as many kids to see it as possible because we know they love it.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks so much for taking the time to speak to us. And good luck with future ventures. If you're ever in Bristol, pop in and see us.
Will do.
Cheers, thanks. There you go, rather wonderful Tim Clagg talking about Who Killed Nelson Nutmeg, which is on tomorrow, Sunday the 17th of April at Scott Cinemas.